Good morning. I'll just say all.
Good morning.
Welcome to another episode of the Pretty Picnic Podcast. Today, actually, no, I'm not gonna tell y'all what we're talking about. We're just gonna talk about it. But I am going to I have like a lot of movie, I guess, suggestions today. So I'm gonna get into those first. Netflix put Kenan and Kel and all that on.
Yes, they did.
On there. That was like huge to me. First of all, I didn't know they were about to do that. Like I was just browsing one day and I saw it and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I couldn't believe it. That was like, those were two shows that are just the nostalgia. Like it just takes me back because Nickelodeon was my shit when I was like, I'm gonna say like from the time I was born till I was like probably 8 years old, 10 years old, something like that. And all that and Kenan and Kel were two of my faves. That was back when Nickelodeon was super black. Like, every time I watch, like I have Kenan and Kel on my TV show schedule now. So every time me and mamas watch it, Netflix asks me, do I want to skip the intro? I'm like, no, we be in there. Bankhead bouncing through the whole thing every time. Like that's my shit. Like all the shows had, all the Nickelodeon shows had black artists doing the theme songs because that was Coolio. Then all that had TLC, and then Cousin Skeeter had, who was it? Escape or I think it was Escape. I might be wrong though. No, it was 702. 702. But that's another black group. So I don't know. Nickelodeon was like black as hell, and plus all that always had like black ass performances.
True.
I remember they had Ice Cube on there one time. Like that was inappropriate, but still super black. So loved it. So yeah, if you're a 90s baby / 90s kid, then definitely check that out. Also, they put one of my favorite movies of all time back on there. It's called Endless Love. Endless Love, that was a little hidden gem that I found on Netflix back in 2014 when I was just like browsing dramas and stuff trying to find something I never seen before, and I just watched it and it ended up being some of the craziest shit I ever seen and became one of my favorite movies. Like I said, that's a movie I've seen over 100 times literally, and I like know the score by heart, like the music score. I know the lines, I know everything like from beginning to end. I know the movie like the back of my hand. So that's a good one to watch. It is it's from 1981 and Brooke Shields is in there. She's one of the main characters, and it's a romantic movie about obsession, but not like in the way that you're used to seeing it like these days. Like it's not like somebody obsessing over somebody that they can't have and then getting angry and being abusive and stuff. It's not like that. It's like, it's just different. It's these two high school age kids and their love is just scary, obsessive to the point it leads to dangerous things happening, and it just goes like in a direction that you just won't see coming. So definitely check that out. Like I said, it's one of my favorite movies. I love 80s movies, like how they were filmed. They just feel so much more realistic. Like when you're watching it, you just like the idea of cameras being in the room with those people and them saying lines that they rehearsed just doesn't even pop in your head. It just looks so natural.
Yeah.
So yeah, watch that. Endless Love, that's what it's called. 1981 with Brooke Shields, because there is a remake from like 2015 or something. Don't watch that one. And then last but not least for my film suggestions. I watched four older Black movies this past week, because me and mom was watching a movie every night now. And I have to watch, I have different categories that I watch every day, like drama, suspense, comedy, romance. So the suspense movie that we watched was The Bone Collector with Denzel Washington,
that's what I said.
Angelina Jolie, and Queen Latifah. You seen it?
No, but I heard of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had never heard of it till this year, which is weird because that type of movie is right up my alley. Like, that's exactly the kind of shit I like. I couldn't believe I've never heard of it. And it had big names in it, so that was weird to me. But I watched it. I loved it. It's about a former detective who is now quadriplegic. And he's basically taking this new detective under his wing to be his eyes and ears in this crazy serial killer case. That's Angelina Jolie. She's the detective that goes under his wing. So yeah, that one was really good. And then the drama that we watched was Ray. Everybody knows what Ray is. It's the biopic of Ray Charles, which I had always seen bits and pieces of, but this was the first time I watched it from beginning to end. I was kind of disappointed with how it was going towards the end. I feel like it was really rushed towards the end, which usually happens with movies that have a whole lot of shit going on in them. Mm-hmm. But Jamie Foxx did a phenomenal job. I mean, that wasn't a question. Just from the little bits and pieces I had seen before that, I knew he had done phenomenally. So yeah, that was good. It was interesting to learn about his life. And surprisingly, I ended up looking up older pictures of Ray Charles when he was younger after I watched it, and Jamie Foxx really embodied him for real. And then the comedy selection was Kingdom Come, which was a movie that came out, I think, early 2000s. And I was super excited to see it back when it came out because it had so many different Black actors and celebrities in it. And it looked like it was going to be hilarious, but it actually was kind of disappointing. It didn't really make me laugh that much. And the plot was kind of bland, I guess. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. And then the romance selection was Mo Better Blues, which is a Spike Lee joint, which also had Denzel Washington in it when he was young. Now, okay, Denzel Washington and Mo Better Blues, when you see that, you really understand why, when you were a kid, all the older adults, the women, were so thirsty over him. I didn't get it when I was a kid. But looking at him in this movie, I completely understand. He was foreign. And then he was a musician on top of that, so that just makes it even worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as that movie, I don't really understand where it was supposed to go. It was entertaining to watch. There was a love triangle, and the two women he was fucking showed up to his performance on the same night wearing the same dress that he bought both of them.
Imagine.
Yeah. He was like, what are the odds that they would both be in the same place at the same time wearing the same So he was like, I'm gonna just buy both of them the same thing, and then it ended up happening. But yeah, I don't know, the little love scenes were passionate. They were nice. The music was nice, the jazz music. But yeah, other than that, I really I don't know, that was another plot that was what's happening here? And then Denzel Washington and Spike Lee's character end up getting beat to literally a pulp in this movie. And that shit was whoa, what the fuck? Why did that just happen? I mean, I know why it happened, but it just wasn't expected. The way Spike Lee's character got beat up, he should have been dead. And he wasn't. And when they show his face after the beating, it's oh God, please. He looked like a fuck. I was about to say, I'm not gonna say that. It looked disgusting. And then like the ending was super rushed and like fuckboyish. Denzel's part, it was like he kind of lost his musical touch after getting beat up because his lips got really injured in the fight, and he played the sax. And so he couldn't really play the same, and he was feeling really down on himself and didn't have his girl anymore because she left him for his friend that was in the band, which was Wesley Snipes. And then the other girl, he hadn't talked to in over a year, and he just shows up at her house after this because he's feeling super shitty about how his life is going. He just shows up at her house talking about how he wants her to have his son and all this other stuff. And then they end up, next thing you know, they getting married. Well, first they fuck. And then next thing you know, they getting married. They show the wedding, and next thing you know, she's pregnant. And they show the scene where she gives birth. And in this scene, it showed an actual baby coming out of an actual woman's vagina. So that was crazy. I was like, oh, I wonder how they went about this. Like, they just find a pregnant black woman who was giving birth. So it was like, can we have these cameras in the delivery room? Because it was an actual birth that happened. So I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, and then it just cuts to their kid being like 12 years old, and he's learning how to play the sax. Yeah, so I don't know. Spike Lee, I don't know, he does some interesting stuff.
Yes, he does.
Make some interesting decisions. But, you know, whatever. It was still cool to watch. So yeah, those are my suggestions. The Bone Collector, Ray. Well, I guess The Bone Collector and Ray are the only ones I'm really suggesting. You watch. I mean, Mo Better Blues too. You could, especially if you're into, you know, Spike Lee's older work from the 80s and the 90s, which I am, which is why I watched it. So yeah. Any updates on your side?
Any updates? Not besides me leaving. That's the only update I have.
You're leaving? Where are you going?
I'm moving to New Jersey.
You're moving to New Jersey? Well, what brought on this idea, Yanni? What made you make this decision?
To give myself a change of pace, and I figured I'm a decent enough place now to step out on my own. So
okay.
Yeah.
I feel that. Good for you, Yanni. See, we want to hear about this stuff. We want to hear about the goings on in your life. You swear you don't never had nothing going on. Like, that would have
because I really don't.
Perfect thing. Like, you're about to venture out on your own as an adult.
A little bit.
I actually left home for the first time when I was your age too.
Really?
Yep. I was, because you're 23, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I was 23 years old when I got my first apartment. It was a 1,083 square foot studio loft, factory loft. But it was in Racine, Wisconsin. So it was great, but it wasn't great.
Right.
Perfect first apartment, just in the worst place ever. Wisconsin, especially Racine, Wisconsin, is a very dry and barren place. Don't ever go there. But yeah, I'm super happy for you, as I already told you, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I actually have some news that, like, I want to tell you. Like, there's like some synchronicities synchronicities going on with me and you, but I can't talk about it right now. But I will be able to talk about it next week when we do the next episode.
Okay.
I want to talk some art stuff really quick, just because I am really kind of reinventing myself as an artist right now, like rebranding and learning some new shit. Like, I started teaching myself how to make emotes for Twitch. So that's one way I'm rebranding. I just started learning digital art in March of this year. So it's still very new to me, but I'm learning gradually. I'm starting to get things. It's becoming super comfortable to me now. So now I'm like, okay, I want to try doing different styles of art now that I'm doing work digitally. I've always done larger scale realistic portraits, but now that I'm doing digital work, I want to try to venture into smaller scale, like illustrations, animated characters. And so that's what I've been practicing. And I'm also, along with the emotes and illustrations, I'm also doing, these kind of really loosely shaded oil painting portraits in Procreate. I just finished my first one yesterday. It's called Demon Time. It's on my Instagram, which is Tanae Brianna, if anybody wants to go look at that. But I'm very proud of it because it's very different for me. Not what I actually painted, but just the style that I painted it in. It's a reference of a naked photo I took of myself when I was 8 months pregnant. And my belly's not in the picture, just my boobs. But it was actually when I was coming home from my spooky themed baby shower. And my baby daddy, he couldn't be there because he had to work. And so when I got home, I still had my devil horns on and my little red wig, and I just took off all my clothes and went to take a little sexy picture to send him. And then I ended up forgetting to send it to him. And I'm just going through my photos recently, and I'm like, maybe I should use this for a piece since I never sent it to him. It really looks like it would be a good art piece. And so I just decided to go with this loose kind of shading with the oil painting, not blending anything really. And it was super fun. I felt like it came out looking so realistic for something that I did with such simple ass shading and no blending. And so it was super fun to do. And I want to make more stuff in this style. But yeah, the point of what I'm saying is just that I'm reinventing myself. I'm really excited about the things that are to come with my art. Can't wait to start doing art streams, showing y'all this stuff. And I can't wait to start selling my art again. I haven't sold my art since before I was pregnant. So that's been a year and a half. So I'm really excited to start selling work again and putting out new projects on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me. Anything else for you?
No. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right. This week's excerpt. I met Maisha when I was 6 years old. She showed up just in time because I was so tired of playing with the next door neighbors, Yesenia and Junior, all the time. Yesenia was a bully because she was taller than everybody, and Junior was too needy and expected me to play with him 24/7. I didn't feel like I had anything in common with him, but Maisha was perfect. She was another little black girl my age who liked to jump rope and play hand games. We hit it off immediately, and our parents did too. Pretty soon, we were attached at the hip, and not just because I had a huge crush on her older brother, Bud. Maisha, who affectionately went by Shay Shay, was always allowed to have friends over, and I never was. I loved being in Shay's house. It looked almost identical to mine on the inside. She lived only 2 houses down, but it seemed as if the sun only shined inside of her windows. I could feel the shift in energy as soon as I stepped in her doorway. She even had a TV in her bedroom. We'd sit on the carpet in front of her bed and watch Jerry Springer. her mom would offer us chocolate ice cream bars, and I felt like I was receiving some kind of star treatment. Things were completely different here than they were at my house. All right. So today we're going to start off by talking about our first best friendships, our first experiences with having a best friend. And why did you say? Did you say?
No, I said.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, did something happen with you and your best friend? I guess I'll go ahead and start since I just gave that lovely story. So like I said, when I was 6 years old, 6 or 7, one of those, I met Maisha. I think I was like outside playing with my jump rope, and I put it down for a second to go do something. When I turned around, this little girl was walking up, grabbing my rope and jumping with it. And I'm like, hey, that's mine. And she's like, oh, well, can we play with it together? And I'm like, okay. And then we became friends from that point on. That's how it went. She was like really cool at first, and like I said, she was another little black girl like me. We were like almost the same skin tone. We both had like the same hairstyle, and we did the same things, and so people like would see us together, they would think we were sisters. And I kind of like love that, because I really, for some reason, I really I guess you would say I looked up to her, even though she wasn't older than me. But I don't know, like, my mom used to tell me that I put her on a pedestal. Like, she said, all I ever heard was Shay Shay this and Shay Shay that. I want to go play with Shay Shay. And Shay Shay did this and Shay Shay. Like, she said this girl's all I talked about. I don't recall that, but I know how I looked at her, and I did look at her like she was like that girl. Like, I wanted to be like her. I really like took it as a compliment when people thought that we were sisters, and she was kind of just like, no, we don't look alike, like, you know. Like, it kind of annoyed her a little bit. But the thing about the dynamic of our friendship was that when it was just me and her, she was my best friend. When other people were around, she was very different. She treated me differently. She kind of acted like she was embarrassed of me. And at the time, you know, when I'm a kid, I'm not seeing that. Like, I'm seeing that she's acting different, and I'm asking myself, like, why is she acting like that? But I'm not seeing that she's embarrassed of me, you know? And so, yeah, that was the dynamic of our friendship. So, like I said, when it was just me and her, it was good. She was really nice to me. She shared her stuff with me. She always wanted me to come over. Yeah. And so there were other girls in our on our block too. I lived in a predominantly Black and Latino neighborhood, and it was like that neighborhood where the kids was always outside. Like, we were always out riding our bikes, playing kickball, playing with water guns, jumping rope, guys playing basketball in the alley. Like, we was always all outside. And so I ended up meeting like all the other girls our age in the neighborhood real quickly. It was like 3 or 4 other girls. Yeah, 4. And so there was one girl named Dorothy, and she was like a year or 2 older than the rest of us. And she was like, I don't know, like, her parents were never home, and her sister like got away with a lot like doing a lot of stuff, and it just seemed like she was a lot more mature than us. When you're that young, you don't like like you just think the smallest shit makes somebody look cool. And just the fact that she had this cool older sister, like that just made us feel like she was cool, you know.
Right.
And so when Maisha became friends with Dorothy, that's when it really started to become, or not, I'm not gonna say it became clear, because like I said, I didn't realize what kind of friend she was till I was much, much older, like in high school, and we weren't friends anymore. But she really, when she became friends with Dorothy, she really started like kind of showing that she was embarrassed of me. I remember her and Dorothy used to sing that one part from that song. They'd be like, I came from the projects, roaches and rats. I forget what song it is. It might be, is that a Jay-Z song? I don't know. But yeah, they would sing that part and like shake hands and stuff like, yeah, we from the projects, bitch. Like in that way. And then it'll be like they'll do that with each other like it's some kind of cool thing. And then like if I was there in the mix and I said it, like I came from the projects, roaches and rats, they'll be like, not everybody is from the projects today. Like, not everybody is ghetto. Not everybody is like hood and, you know, shit like that. Like, it was like when Dorothy did it, it was cool, but when I did it, it was like, girl, stop, you know?
Right, yeah.
And so, and then the other thing about the dynamic of our friendship was that she was very jealous of me. It was like which is weird, right? Because you like embarrasses somebody and then jealous of them at the same time. But that's how she was. It was like she would act like I was this lame, and that I wasn't like, I guess, as cute as the other girls, especially once I got glasses. I had like Arthur glasses.
Oh.
But she would also be jealous of like my hair. We both had relaxed hair. Her mom was like a beautician. We both had relaxed hair. And her mom, she always like bragged about her mom being a beautician and how her mom knows hair and blah, blah, blah. And so one day my mom blew my hair out. And it was just super big. It wasn't an afro because I had relaxed hair, but it was just like fluffy and long, like down my back. And it was one of those days where your mom like cleaned the whole house, the house smelling good, and it's like incense burning, and it's the summertime, so I'm eating a popsicle and the air is blowing, and I'm like, my hair is freshly washed and blow dried, and it's everywhere. It's all big and beautiful, and I'm just like feeling great. And I hear the doorbell ring. I go to the door with my popsicle, looking all cute, and it's Maisha, and when I open the door and she sees my hair, she don't even say hey or can you come outside or nothing. The first thing she says is, my mama said my hair longer than yours.
What?
And I'm just like,
unprovoked.
It's right. It's so funny when I think about it now, because when it was happening, like I said, I didn't understand nothing that was going on. I didn't understand, oh, this is embarrassment. This is jealousy. This, like, I didn't like think that I was like literally so pure. It's crazy. I didn't understand nothing negative that people were doing or saying to me. I'm just like, wow. I wonder why she said that. So when she said it, I'm like confused, because we standing right next to each other and your hair is under your ears and mine is down my back. So I'm like, No, it's not. She's like, my mama a beautician. So, you know, she know because she a beautician. I'm like, your hair is not longer than mine. But I don't know. I just think about that story sometimes and just laugh. That was so funny. But it was like stuff like that. The other thing that clearly made her jealous, and this was a big one because it not only showed how she felt about me, but how my other quote unquote friends felt about me or thought of me. So, Maisha had a crush on this new boy that just had moved into our neighborhood and started going to our school recently. His name was Kentrell. He was this dark chocolate with cornrows and high cheekbones and pretty white teeth, and he was tall and athletic. You know, however tall and athletic you can be when you're, let's see, I was in 3rd grade. This is the summer after 3rd grade. So however tall and athletic you can look when you're 9 years old. I'm just going off of how I saw him then. That's how I saw him, and that's how she saw him. And he was fine, and like I had no interest in him when she was telling me about him. I'm just listening, like, oh, okay. Like she's just talking about how she has this crush on him, and she wanted to talk to him, and whatever. You know, we didn't really talk to boys when we were 9 years old. We just thought they were cute from a distance, and sometimes they hit us and sometimes we chase them, and that's pretty much the extent of it, you know. So yeah, she told me about him, and that was that. Literally like maybe a week after she tells me about this boy, I'm at my aunt's house. She lives a few blocks down from where we live, and I don't remember why I was there, but I was there doing whatever, and she had me go dump the garbage. I have to go through the backyard to go dump the garbage, and so when I walk through the backyard, the neighbors next door have like a bunch of kids in their backyard, and they're all playing on the slip and slide and with water guns and like, you know, getting wet because it's summertime. And so I'm taking the garbage out, and when I'm coming back, he's there. He's in the backyard, and it turns out that he lives right next door to my aunt. And he got his shirt off with some trunks on because he's on the slip and slide. And his hair was like freshly braided, and he looked really cute. And he came over to me, like he saw me walking from the garage, dump the garbage. He came over. It's just nothing but a little wire fence right there that we're both taller than. So he just comes in, he starts up a conversation. I don't even remember how he did it. He probably said something about like, don't you go to Lionel Hampton or something. He started up a conversation, and we just started talking. It's funny talking about this now because it's like, what the fuck could we have been talking about? We was 9 years old. But we literally talked for like an hour. Well, it felt like an hour to me. I don't know how long it was actually, but it felt like we talked for like an hour. Like he completely forgot about his little cousins and stuff. He was clearly the oldest. He had like little cousins and brothers and sisters that was playing behind him, and he just forgot. Eventually they went inside, and we still outside talking. He just leaned on the fence talking to me, and he clearly like liked me, and he had to tell me that I was cute and that he liked me and stuff, because I didn't, like, you know, I didn't pick up on stuff like that when I was that young. And also I wasn't accustomed to boys thinking I was cute. He was definitely the first boy that ever like told me that. And so, yeah, we just became friends in that moment. And then, I don't know how much later it was that my aunt ended up having a block party, and we always went to her block parties. And when we went, obviously he was there because he lived next door. And that whole day we were like hanging out, talking. He let me ride on the pegs on his bike. He rode me around the neighborhood. And he asked me to be his girlfriend. And of course I wasn't allowed to have no boyfriend. But, you know, we all had little quote unquote boyfriends throughout elementary school. So I said yeah, and it really just meant like, you know, back then you don't say you want to be my boyfriend. It was like, do you want to go with me? Now we go together now.
Yeah.
So me and him started going together. And I was like, I'm thinking everything is like good, chill, like clearly he likes me a lot. He's always around me. He's always trying to talk to me. He was on a trampoline doing flips and stuff trying to impress me. It's so funny talking about this now. But yeah, so we started going together, and after that, I felt compelled to tell Maisha about it because, you know, she had told me a few weeks prior that she had a crush on him or she thought he was cute or whatever. So I just wanted to let her know, like, yeah, that guy, like, yeah. So me and her and the other girls on our block are like jumping double dutch one day. And this is like after I had told them that we go together. And so we're jumping double dutch, and one of them ends up bringing him up and saying, yeah, we asked Kentrell about you, and he said he don't go with you and he don't know what you talking about, and I really think you lying about that. And I'm like super confused because I'm not understanding why he would say that at this point. Obviously I know now. Because he was embarrassed of me too, just like my own friends were. But in that moment, I'm just not understanding. I'm like, what? He said that? That's like, and I'm like, and then I'm questioning them because I'm like, why would I lie about that? Like, he literally was with me all day at the block party the other day. He asked me to go with him. He kissed my cheek. Like, why would I lie about this? And they were just really just talking about me that whole day outside, like talking about how I lied about having a boyfriend and then lying about Kentrell wanting me and all of that. And so, of course, later in life, when I figured out, like, oh, people used to talk about me because they thought I was ugly, or they used to talk about it because they thought I was lame or a nerd or whatever. And my friends used to act like this around other people because they were embarrassing me or ashamed of being my friend or whatever. That's when I realized, oh, so that's what that Kentrell situation was about. That's why they were saying that, because they didn't believe I could actually get a boyfriend. They didn't believe that a boy would actually like me.
Right.
Yeah, it was. So, yeah, that's pretty much how my friendships were when I was 8 to 10 years old or 7 to 10 years old. Those are the friends that I had. I think me and Maisha probably stopped communicating around the time that we moved from that house. So we moved when we definitely did, because I know I went to her 12th birthday party, and then we moved the summer after I turned 13. So yeah, me and her just weren't friends anymore after that because we never saw each other. I think her parents separated after that, and so she wasn't living in that house anymore, so I didn't have her number. She didn't have my number, and that's just how that friendship ended. There's more to tell about this friendship. I don't want to give it away in this episode because there's some things that fall under other episodes. I'm going to tell y'all about it then. But yes, this isn't the end of Shay Shay. We're going to hear more about Shay Shay. But and then the other friend, like the other girls, I wasn't close with 3 of the other girls, like Dorothy and then Jasmine and Ranisha. I wasn't close with them. But I was close with one of the other girls, Ebony, and we tried like communicating with each other throughout the years, you know, here and there. We became like those Facebook friends, like, you know, the friends that you really just like comment on their status sometimes, or we became that like during high school, and then after high school we just completely fell off. But yeah, that was my friendship. There were times like where the girl Dorothy like really tried to kind of turn Maisha even more against me. Like I remember them ganging up on me a lot. Like when it was always like if somebody else did something, it was cool, it was funny. If I did it, it was an issue. Like that type of thing. Or Dorothy just always had something to say about anything I did. I remember I ordered some there was a boy in our neighborhood whose family sold like candy and chips and stuff like shit you would, pickles, shit you would get at the gas station. He sold it to us right in the neighborhood. So they would do this thing where they give you flaming hots with like cheese and meat poured in it. So I had ordered some of that. I think it was literally $1, G. Because that was back when chips was 25 cents. A bag of chips was 25 cents. So to get it with the cheese and meat, it was $1. And he brought it back to me, and it was like literally like a spoonful of meat in there. And I'm like, and like barely any cheese. And I'm like, I want my money back because I can't. He said we ran out of cheese and meat. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't want this. So, I think I just want my money back. And here come Dorothy ass. Like, that's rude as hell. Don't do that to him. Like, it's not his fault. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just want my money back because I'm not getting the product I paid for. Like, why is she like in my face? Because anyway, that was Dorothy. It was funny because Dorothy like always, I don't know, she just always was like, the other girls were impressed by her because she was what you would call fast. She was doing things with boys already that we weren't doing yet. So we looking at her like, wow, she's really advanced. Like, oh my God, like that. But she really wasn't, like, she wasn't this cool girl that she like made herself out to be. She was a bully. And I'm trying to think what I was gonna say about the other girl in our group that I wasn't that close with, because I had got into it with her a few times too, just because she thought that she could clown me because she was real tall. I was the little girl in the group. I was shorter than everybody. Like, I'm the shortest person in my friend group all the time. I'm 5'1", and this girl was probably like fucking 5'6" when we was this young. And so she thought that she could, push me around just because she was so much taller than me. And I remember she was doing that one day, like talking her little shit, everybody laughing, and then I talked my shit back, and she got mad and she got in my face like, you not gonna say it to my face? And I said it to her, like she looking down at me like she about to beat my ass, and I looked up at her and I said it to her face, and she just went, ooh, and just started crying out of frustration. Because like, you thought you was gonna play me and I called your bluff. So that was something that happened a lot in that group, and I didn't always have that energy. Like, most of the time I really was just like backed into a corner, and I just accepted like my treatment the way they treated me. But every now and then, when they got me to that point, because there were other times I got into it with the Ebony girl a lot of times too. And you know what? Another thing that my best friend would do is that she would like instigate situations and try to get me to do things out of my character because it was entertaining for her to watch. And this is another thing that obviously I didn't come to this conclusion until I was older and I look back on it. But yeah, like I would get into it with Ebony or something, and I would walk away from it, and she'll be like, you just gonna let her say that? Nah, if I was you, I'll go up there and do this and that. And so I would go up there and do whatever she said, and then she would be shocked, like, why would you do that? Like, that type of shit. I was very it was like I was in this toxic friendship with her where she could easily manipulate me I was young. I didn't know shit. She didn't know shit either. But yeah, it was like really easy for her to like have an impression on me and you know, get me to do things because like I said, I looked up to her. I guess I really did have her on this pedestal, and I guess you could say that, like, knowing that she treated me differently around other people, like, I guess you could say that I was trying to do what I could to get her to treat me the same when other people are around, like to think I'm cool or whatever, which is something you should never have to do with anybody, especially not your best friend. But that's just a lesson I learned early on, you could say. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about my my early friendships. I'm a do an ad right here at 45-minute mark. Yeah, about 45 minutes. I'm gonna let Yanni go ahead and talk about your first best friendship.
My first best friendship. Oh, I don't remember what age I was because that was so long ago. Oh my god. I was in first grade, maybe, or second. Probably second grade. I remember her name was Mariana, and she was from Panama. Do not remember how we met, but I know we lived in the same apartment complex and we took the same bus to school. So I don't remember how she really approached me, but I know she's the one that started like a whole friendship dynamic.
It was so easy to make friends when you were a kid.
All you had to do was walk up to somebody, be like, "You want to be friends? Sure."
Right. Just start talking.
Or you want to play with this? Yeah.
If only it was that simple.
It's not that easy anymore. But yeah, so we took the same bus, lived in the same apartment complex. I'm pretty sure without a doubt she started the exchange. I can't remember much of the dynamic, but I know I really, really like loved her as a best friend. Like, we were really, really close. She, to the point, she actually gave away like her toys or something to me. Whatever she had, she like, just keep it. You can have it. I don't want it. Like, give it to me. I'm like, okay. So she was really sweet. She was very short though. She was shorter than me, and she had really long black hair. And I mean, like, long black hair, like past her bum. Like, it was really long. That's the one thing. Yeah, that's the one thing that I distinctly remember about her. That she had really long hair. And I just
past her bum.
Yeah, but she had really long that I just was so in love with it. I was like, oh my gosh, hair is so long. I was just so mesmerized by it. It wasn't really a bad friendship at all. Like, she's one of my favorite best friends that I had. This is when I was living in New Jersey. When I was younger.
So is that how y'all friendship ended? Was it because you moved?
Yeah, I had to move.
Okay.
Which really sucked. She actually cried when I told her I had to leave.
Aww.
And I was sad too. And she gave me one of her dolls before I left to keep, to like remember her by. It was so sweet. It was a pretty like,
this is so
friendship
innocent.
there. Yeah, it really was. It's one of those innocent childhood friends. And the one thing that I do hate the most after moving, just like, I missed her so much, and I was mad that we had to leave, because just like, but that's my best friend. And like, to this day, it's like, there's not really connection that can really like match like that childhood feeling, you know, that you have with your childhood best friend. And to this day, I still miss her. I'm just like, I wish I could find her. I wonder what happened to her. Like, after I moved, just that sucks, as a kid.
Did you ever try to like look her up on Facebook or something?
I tried, but I could not. I wouldn't even know what she looks like now to even know.
Well, you can't picture it now, but if you like had found her like on social media, you could like look at.
That's what I'm saying. Like on social media, how would I know it's her? She could have cut her hair by now. She look at me different. Like who knows? And she even still alive. Like I wouldn't even know.
Like I'm glad that you had such a wholesome experience. I was saying because you're like, man, it just to this day, like nothing compares.
And she was my only friend in school. She was my only friend because we went to the same school. She was my only one. And I would sneak by her classroom and wave to her while she's in class. So where the teacher wasn't looking, like that type of stuff. It was really cute. And she would do the same thing to me too. But yeah, it wasn't bad at all. It was really innocent.
You saying this and I'm like, I cannot relate. Like I don't know what feeling you talking about. I don't have this warm fuzzy from my childhood pressure. I don't understand.
She's definitely like my childhood best friend.
I literally told Maisha one time, like crying, like boo-hooing, like, thank you so much for being my friend. And this girl's looking at me like, girl, what the fuck? Like, are you good?
Never did you ever.
I did. I don't even remember what brought that on, like what made me do it. It was something happened, but aww. I guess she, in my mind at that point, she was like the only real friend that I had, even though she wasn't a real friend. I thought she was a real friend, and so she was like the one that I was super close to. And she always let me come over, and she gave me ice cream bars, and she let me do this and do that. And so I thought she was a good friend. And I'm like, I've never had a best friend before. So it was like, man, thank you so much. So it was kind of like I was looking at her like how you saying like that warm and fuzzy feeling, but it just wasn't reciprocated.
No.
Not at all. But it's fine.
I was really that innocent, typical childhood best friend.
That's funny, cause like now I'm thinking back to the friends that I had even before that. They weren't best friends, but friends I had before that in like K3 and K4, like before kindergarten and shit. And K3,
I can't remember those moments.
Girl, I remember every damn thing. It's sad. Like honestly, free me from my memory. It was a girl in K3 who used to, whenever we had to go to the washroom, she would go in the stall next to me and like show me her ass from underneath the stall, the door. Yes, the whatever the thing is, the stall, the side of the stall that connected our stalls together. She would just pull her pants down and just flash her butthole. I don't know why. I'm dead ass. And she used to ask me to get under the table with her and try to kiss me. This was in K3. God. So it's like, that kind of reminds me of
to be honest, I hear a lot of stories like that coming from people where like kids are just like that. And
because
those, like,
they're exposed to things that they shouldn't be exposed
and it always baffled me because it's like you're literally in not even first, second grade, you're literally in pre-K, like daycare, doing these things, and it's like, and now you still in my innocence, like your innocence was still there, still in my this. Yeah, it was a crazy time, and then I had another like girl that I called my best friend when I was in K4, but we didn't like, we only saw each other at school. We didn't. It was literally just for K4. But she was the one I think I talked about in the first episode. Who we were our boyfriends were the twin boys that looked like Michael Jordan in the 90s. Yes. Yeah. Her name, I don't even remember her name, actually.
I just remember we went on a field trip to McDonald's one time. A field trip to McDonald's. That sounds so ridiculous. We went on a field trip to McDonald's, and me and her and our boyfriends sat together, and she ate a burger and like threw up all over her boyfriend. That's the only memory I have of her, literally. And I think that was my last like friend until I met Maisha. So I didn't really have like no great experiences. You know, I didn't really have nothing great to compare her to know that she was a shitty ass friend. But after that I did, you know. That's how it be. Alright. I'm getting to summer camp. Should I read this excerpt that I have? Because it's not really an excerpt, it's just something, it's part of my book. But it is like the situation I'm about to. No, I'm gonna just talk about it because I might as well do that instead of giving you the little excerpt, which is just gonna be a summary of what I would tell you. So, I went to Rainy Park summer camp when I was 8 years old and when I was 10 years old. It was like right around the neighborhood that I grew up in. Anybody who's from that area knows Rainy Park. Like people who went to Bogan. People who live over there by that White Castle, by that library, they know Rainy Park. Super cool summer camp. It was like a camp where we would go and do arts and crafts. They would give us these nice little lunches. We went to the beach every Friday. We did sports and stuff. They had a huge park, Rainy Park. And we would do different sports. Like they had a tennis court and everything. We played tennis. We did basketball in the gym. They had a basketball inside their facility, a basketball court inside. I said they had a basketball. They had a basketball court inside of the building. I think we did softball too, but I'm not sure. I don't want to lie, but yeah, we did that kind of stuff. And they also had like a wood shop, so we learned how to like build birdhouses and all kinds of cool stuff. So like I said, I went there when I was 8 the first time. And I just have like couple memories from that time. So there was a little girl, well, she was my age, she was in my group. I just remember her by two things. She had this crazy birthmark. I've seen it like similar birthmarks since then, but at that time I had never seen anything like that before. Have you ever seen people whose birthmark is like a big ass, thick ass random patch of hair on their skin somewhere?
Random patch of hair?
Yeah, like hers was on her arm, so her entire arm was bare, and then there's like a large rectangle in the middle of it somewhere with this thick, long ass dark hair, and it's just this little patch where it's like long enough, like werewolf type hair.
Yeah, no, I've never seen that before.
That was the first time I ever seen. I've only seen it like once or twice since then. But yeah, that's how I remember her, because she was the girl with the birthmark. And this girl, it was beach day, so we all had our swimsuits on underneath our clothes, but she had forgotten hers. And so one of the counselors was like, anybody who didn't have the swimsuit on, we're gonna go and let you guys change now. And so obviously we were gonna go inside the building and change. But this girl starts stripping right there in front of the entire group of kids, the boys and the girls and all the counselors. And like we all had to like physically stop her because she didn't understand like what was wrong about that. So that's just like just a little funny story that I remember from being there. But anywho, my experience there was, I just remember like I said, all the great like activities and things we did. The curriculum was like really good. The counselors were great. And I just remember this girl, Daniela. Daniela was this older girl. I was 8, so she was like 12 to 14, somewhere around that age. And she was that pretty girl everybody like wanted to be around, everybody like looked up to. All the boys loved her, all the girls wanted to be like her. And I was a lot younger than her, so I didn't want to like be her because she was like, to me at that time, you know, when you're a kid, kids that are like 4 years older than you, they seem like fucking adults. So
Yes.
to me, she was like, I thought she was like way older and way more mature than me. And I just wanted to be in her presence, you know, like everybody did. Like everybody just wanted to be in her presence. She was really gorgeous. She had this long, pretty, curly hair. She had these cute ass outfits. She was like tall and thin, like a model. Like she had like a legit model body. And she was just real cool. And so I ended up becoming like her, like the little girl that she like always had with her, like her little sister, you know, like little baby sister. And I felt like so fucking honored. I couldn't believe that I was the person in that role. But yeah, she thought I was so adorable, and she always like took me with her whenever she did anything. And she's like, oh, you're so cute. And so she like hold my hand and take me with her. And I'm like, obviously, like I was honored, and I felt like other people was looking at me like, oh, she must be cool if she with Daniela, you know.
Right.
And I just really thought she was just the shit. And there was this other girl. It was this white girl with glasses, blonde hair. She always wore like a baseball cap and like basketball shorts and hoodies and stuff. And she kind of stayed to herself, but she was like one of those people that was like a well actually type person, which is how I am now. That's what my friends tell me. But you know, always butting into people's conversations when they didn't want her in them, and just always being a know-it-all. And so people didn't like her. And for some reason, she would get into it with Daniela a lot. And one day, we're all in the gym after playing basketball, and her and Daniela went back and forth. And I'm sitting next to Daniela. We're like sitting in front of this stage or whatever. And the girl goes off and does something, but she leaves her bag and her water bottle in there. And when nobody else is looking except me, Daniela grabs her water bottle and she like spits on her finger and rubs it all over the top where you drink from. And she just said something snarky like, let's see how you like that, or something. I don't know what the fuck she said, but you know, something along those lines. Yeah. And I swear I never wanted to be around her again. Like, I never looked at her the same after that. I was just watching, like, you know, when you have like an idol or somebody like a celebrity that you fuck with really hard, like you stan, and then when you realize that they're not as noble a person as you thought they were, and you just feel the respect for them just evaporating.
Right.
And it's just so sad. That's how it was. That was like the first time somebody that I looked up to like really disappointed me. So I just thought that was so fucking gross and just so uncalled for. They weren't arguing about shit, just like, you know, talking. Like Daniela was talking about her, and she was just talking back, like defending herself pretty much. And then she did that. So that was like one thing that kind of stood, or like a memory from summer camp that stands out to me. Because like I said, that was the first time somebody I looked up to like just let me down. They weren't the person that I thought they were.
Right.
Another thing that I remember is I learned how to swim going to summer camp. And the funny thing about it is I learned how to swim by teaching somebody else how to swim. So let me explain that. So we it was a beach day. It was Friday. So we're at the beach, and there was a little girl. She was in my age group, but she was a lot smaller than me. And she was just in the shallow part of the water, you know, right by the sand and stuff. And she's just like, I can't swim. I wish I could swim. And just being so sad because all her friends was like out in the deeper water. And I was just like, if you want to swim me, all you gotta do is this. And I just did what I saw other people do. It just put one right arm over, left arm over, kicking my legs. And then I went underwater because I knew I could go underwater. I wasn't afraid of water because I had one of those dads that just throws you in the fucking pool. So I wasn't afraid of water because I had been thrown in the pool so many times. I had been underwater many times. I just didn't know how to swim. I just knew how to be in water. But I went underwater and I like swam that way, like when you push your arms out to your sides. And I kicked my feet. I'm like, that's all you got to do. And she started doing it. And she thanked me. And I'm just like, I just taught myself how to swim. Like, I just did that shit. It was like I knew the mechanics and everything that went into it. But I had never done it before. So that was the first time I ever swam. By teaching somebody else how to swim.
That's interesting.
I know. I was an interesting little kid. Okay, lastly, somebody that, like, okay, so this is when I went back to summer camp when I was 10. I had a crush on this boy there named Xavier. He actually was my camp friend's cousin. So, like, my best friend at summer camp, he was her cousin. I ain't find that out till, like, after I told her I had a crush on him. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, maybe this could end up being an opportunity for me. But he was, like, I think 2 years older than me. And he was so fine to me that I just knew he was out of my league. And so I never, like, tried to tell him that I had a crush or never, like, tried to talk to him. I was, like, nervous to say anything to him because he was also really popular. And, like, I don't know, when it came to popular people when I was a kid and in high school, when it came to popular people, like, you just knew they was gonna be assholes, you know? So I just never would speak to him. If he was around talking to my friend, I would just act like I didn't see him. And sometimes he would actually say something to me, like, just, like, make some kind of funny remark, like, try to get me in on the conversation. And I would laugh and stuff like, oh my God, he included me. He was so fine to me. And I just, like, I don't know, like, I gradually, like, over my time there, like, kind of got closer to him because he would talk to me more and more as time went on, but it would just be friendly. And, like, I realized that he was into these two Hispanic girls. They were actually cousins. One of them was like 14, the other one was 12, and he was 12, and I was 10. But the 14-year-old, she had big breasts. And she looked a lot, like, more mature than the other girls that were there. And he was really into her. Like, he was, like, them kids, man, they was on some other shit. Because they was talking about shit, like, I ain't know nothing about when I was 10. So just hearing him, like, talk about her breasts. Because you could hear, like, the boys, like, talking about them when they were, the Hispanic girls, when they would walk past. You could hear, like, the stuff that they were saying. Like, oh, she's so sexy and her breast this and she got a big old booty and talking about their little penises being hard. Like, you could hear all of that stuff. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. So I knew he liked her because he was always, he liked them. He's always chasing after them and trying to talk to them. And they would, like, laugh him off and stuff, but they clearly, like, giggle and stuff, but they clearly was interested too. Both of them. And one day, I just overhear him talking to the boys about how him and both of the girls like had kissed in the bathroom or something. Like he just kissed both of them. Made
Both
out with
of
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was just bragging about it. He was so like giddy. And I'm just like, I'll never have a chance with a guy who's doing stuff like that. He'll never look at me. But yeah, I just think about like kids they was on some other shit. This is reminding me of something. Wait, I can't talk about it. I'll talk about it on another episode. Oh, but yeah, I was very innocent at that time. I knew nothing about like, I definitely wasn't kissing nobody or being horny. So the fact that they were is like
very advanced,
mind-boggling. Yeah, very. I don't know what was kids. Like I said, them kids was on some other shit. Did you go to summer camp ever or any kind of camp? Because there are other camps, but I've
never been to like a summer camp. I've been to like a church summer camp type thing.
I had a feeling that you might have been to like kind of a church camp type thing. What was that like? Was it? It was like a thing where you stayed overnight or just like
we stayed in like log cabins and everything.
Oh no!
It had a lake boat,
sleepaway camp.
Yeah, so you can just like imagine how that would be because it was a church camp, them kids was just like how you said the kids were at your summer camp. Same way they were.
Like horny?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
What was kids on? Like, what was they watching and doing? I don't even know.
They didn't care nothing about Jesus.
I don't, man. And you know what's weird? Now that we talking about it, when you watch like those old like 80s horror movies about teenagers going to sleepaway camp, they always be doing extra horny shit. Like I think it was
for sure.
It's always like a naked scene or them making out and something. And they're like in high school, like juniors and sophomores and shit. But I think the first Friday the 13th, I think that was the one where 3 teenagers literally were having a threesome when they got murdered. Like that's 2 girls and a guy having a threesome. I'm like, why are all these kids at sleepaway camp so horny?
I don't know.
Is it the fact that they get to spend the night?
I think we were all 14 too, just like y'all were. We're all 14 too.
No, I was 10.
Oh, you was 10.
I was 8 the first time and 10 the second time when I had the crush on the boy that was 12.
Okay, well, I was 14. Yeah, I was 14.
I mean, it's a little different, but it's still not like.
But it's not too far fetched. Like you 14, age. But y'all shouldn't be like this horny being 14. But yeah, them kids make out.
I'm not gonna lie. 14 was like the age when the hormones did start to like. They weren't raging yet, but they were starting to.
Yeah, it was starting puberty. Yes. But still,
yeah, I wasn't in camp.
They were still out of line.
And mine wasn't an overnight camp. It was just a daytime camp, like going to school.
Yeah, mine were overnight. We stayed for like a few days there.
So what kind of stuff did y'all do at church camp? But tell me what church camp is like. I don't know. I've never been to one.
Obviously, they tell you about Jesus. And they had little day activities where we would play by the lake. You could ride on the boats. They had what is it? It's not like a race, but it was like a competition thing where they split off some teams and stuff. A ball is included. I forget what it's called. It was long ago.
Dodgeball?
But no, it wasn't dodgeball. It was something else because it was outside. But I forgot what it was.
Kickball?
But no, it was something else. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what it was. But I just remember we all had our team names. We all had team shirts and everything. So that's all I remember. But yeah, it was like we had those day activities, lunch and everything. So it was like during that time period for me, it was fun. But I was innocent. I wasn't doing what the other kids were doing because they was making out. Like when the supervisors wasn't looking and they would sneak out the cabins at night while the supervisors would sleep. Like they was wilding.
Taking advantage of the opportunity, I guess.
But it's like you would expect it, like being at the age, like you expect like, oh yeah, sneak out. And then a boy that like me try to get me to sneak out the cabin. I'm like, y'all not getting me in trouble.
I'm not like that.
Y'all not getting me in trouble. He said, come on, like, come take a walk with me. I'm like, okay.
Not
like,
come on. That just sound like a fuck boy trying to get you to fuck. That's
He was light skinned.
It's about, come on, let's go take a walk.
And all the girls definitely liked him, but he had a crush on me. So he was cute. And I think at the time I did have a crush on him, but I was like, you're not going to get me in trouble. So I said no. And all his friends were like, oh, come on, Yanni. Like, he wants you to go. I'm like, no.
Of course they did. Ugh.
And then all my girls was like, she said no, go, bye.
I can't believe they start that young. Trying to gas up they dude to get a girl to mess with them.
They really do.
Disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
We're like, no, I'm.
And it was bad because I think I was in my period at that time too. So I was just like, I was already in pain. I was not trying to go for a walk. None of that. Like, it was bad. But yeah, normal things that you would do at a regular like summer camp we did there. It was just like Jesus included in it.
Right. Was Jesus like in the morning and then all the other activities were?
Yeah, it was like in the morning when we woke up, like, because, well, first in the morning they would serve us breakfast, and then after breakfast we would obviously go to like the main building to where that's where they had like little like services and stuff. And then after that we would break off and either into groups or just like it's like a recess type thing. So we just like go chill, have fun, or chill with our friends, whatever. So that's what I'm saying. And for me, it was fun, but for them, that was just their time to be horny.
Well, parents,
but I was actually there to have fun.
Who send your kids to camp, even if it's church camp. Now you know what they doing, so just beware.
Thanks.
I know Michael ass ain't going. No, I'm just playing. Man, kids are nasty. Anyway.
They are.
All right. Another ad at 1:17. Let me write that down. Timestamps. The first one was 45 minutes. And 1:17. Okay. I'll go back to my. All right, so now we're gonna talk about bullies.
Nice, love that.
not about all of our bullies that we've had, but just the first time. Well, the early years that we experienced bullying. I, for one, started, obviously, I was bullied by other people and by my own friends, but I, like...
Be on. It really be on.
It's crazy. It's wild. But I was, when I started going to Lionel Hampton was really when I started getting bullied. I was going to, they had like all the schools are like kind of connected. There was Dawes and there was St. Denis, which is where you go for like kindergarten through third grade, I think it was. And then Dawes was like till, I think Dawes was to 8th grade. And then they made New Dawes. Yes, they actually named it New Dawes until they finally came up with the name Lionel Hampton Fine and Performing Arts School. And so I switched over to Lionel Hampton when I went to 2nd grade. And the things that I got bullied for. Okay, so starting in second grade, I was, you know how like light skinned I am now. So I was even lighter when I was younger. I was like super fucking pale, like the highest of high yellow. And I used to always get called white. Actually, I was I remember drawing. I was in class drawing a picture one day of my family. I was using a little 24 pack of crayons, and I was drawing my family, and we're black. So I was using, like, we all have brown skin, even though I was pale. We all have brown skin, so I'm using the brown crayon for all of us, right? And this boy named John, I hate that I remember all these details, but yes, I remember the boy that was sitting next to me named was John. And he was looking at my picture, and he was like, who is that? And I'm like, oh, that's my mama. Who is that? My brother. Who is that? My dad. Who is that? That's me. Why are you drawing yourself with a brown crayon if you're white? I'm just like, I was so frustrated. Now, he wasn't a bully. He wasn't saying it to bully me, but this is just something that I recall. Because I was so frustrated. Like, how you gonna tell me I'm white? Like, and I'm telling you I'm black. How you gonna tell me I'm white? Like, he just insisted that I was white because my skin was so light. But yeah, that would be like a trend, obviously, throughout my life. But the reason the other kids call me white didn't even have nothing to do with my skin. It was just the way that I acted and the things that I liked or the things that I didn't like that they called me white. So they used to call me white because I was a nerd to them. They called me white because all I ever wanted to do was read books, which is true. When I was that age, I literally just read books all day. I'd be in the house all day reading books to the point my mama would ask me to turn on the TV or go out. Not go outside. I went outside. I was definitely an outside kid. But when I was in the house, I was reading books. That was my favorite pastime. And same thing at school. I was the straight A student. I was the teacher's pet, like every quarter getting straight A's on every report card. So they called me the teacher's pet, and I was a bookworm and a nerd and all that. They called me white because I didn't talk to boys. And like, I'm 8 years old. I was in third grade at the time. I'm 8 years old, bro. Like, why do I need to talk to boys? Because the other girls would talk to boys. I remember a girl had to actually tell me what flirting was and what going together meant. Because this was before I started going with Kentrell. He was the first boy I ever went with. But yes, I legit remember this girl, Jackie. She was this Hispanic girl who said something about flirting. I'm like, what does flirting mean? And this is what she said. She was like, it's like when you look at a guy and you're like, and she like flipped her hair and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I asked her, what does it mean to go with somebody? And she said it means you like them. So I ended up telling somebody that I go with Vern, this boy that I had a crush on. And then it gets back to him. And then everybody questioning me like, why you saying you go with Vern? Vern said he don't go with you and da-da-da-da-da. Because somebody told me that that's what that meant. So that was embarrassing. But yeah, these are the things that I got bullied about. Like I think I already told you about like the guy Haji like driving past me and Maisha, not driving past, riding past on his bike. Me and my friend were on her porch and he rode past. He was just like, "Hey Maisha," she was like, "Hey Haji," and then he was like, "Hey Tanae," and I was like, "Hey," and he was like, "Tanae, your white ass." Like,
oh my god,
like, I literally ain't have to do shit, and they would just call me, like, do anything. They would just say anything that would make me feel. They knew it was gonna make me feel bad. Cause no, I don't think any black person wants to be called white.
No,
I'm sorry, we just don't. Like, I'm sorry, that's an insult. So yeah, it was just that kind of shit. And well, I'll get into more of being bullied in later episodes, but right now I just want to talk about the bullying that occurred at that time. So like, yeah, at that time it was really just stuff like, it was stuff like people just acting like I didn't exist or didn't matter. Like I told you about the guy who stepped back and stepped on my foot hard as fuck, and he turned around and looked me in the eye and then just turned right back around without saying anything. Like, wow. Oh, it don't matter that you stepped on my shoe? You're not gonna say sorry? Okay. Like, oh, I didn't matter. Why should he apologize? You know, just shit like that. And then like the older kid that had like spit on me from the third floor or some shit. Well, I was on the first floor.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like little stuff like that. I mean, not little stuff. That wasn't little, but you know, it was just like I was a nobody basically to everybody, except there was a guy in my neighborhood that we all knew, because like I said, all the kids in the neighborhood knew each other, hung out with each other. He was actually in 8th grade when I was in 4th. Yeah, because he was a year older than my brother. And his name was Angel. Well, his real name was Miguel, but we all called him Angel. And he was that super cool guy that everybody liked. He was just super chill and laid back, and like he also was like that guy that would beat your ass if he needed to. So it was like the same kind of thing, like where I said like Daniela was that girl that every girl wanted to be and every guy like wanted to be with. It was like that. Like Angel was just this guy that every dude respected. And like every girl had a crush on him, and just everybody thought he was cool as hell. And so he's in 8th grade. So he's 14. I'm in 4th grade, so I'm 9. And so he's 5 years older than me. And he's like tall, skinny, really, really, really cute. We used to say he looked like okay, don't judge me. Don't judge me, but we used to say he looked like the Hispanic version of Eminem with dark hair. Like he kind of resembled Eminem just a little bit, just a tiny bit. Because we all thought Eminem was cute back then. We had crushes on Eminem. But he was really cute, and he was cool. And so he would actually he was a really cool person that was actually nice to me. And not just nice to me, but he treated me differently than he treated all the other kids in the neighborhood, especially like my group of friends. I think he must have seen that they were mean to me, you know? Because he didn't fuck with them. And he would be so nice to me. I remember he always had Winter Fresh gum. And all the kids would, you know, when you pull out a pack of gum, everybody asking for gum. So he would he would like slide me pieces of his gum. Whenever he would get some gum, he would give me a piece. And he wouldn't give any to anybody else. And I remember I accidentally, like, somebody asked me where I got it, and I told them I got it from him, because I wasn't picking up like that. Oh, this is our thing. It was supposed to be for other people. He didn't want to share with nobody else. He was like, why'd you tell them that? That's
Mm-hmm.